Welcome to LoTempio P.C. Law Group. This is our second edition of Meet the Lawyers. In our firm, we'd like to give you an opportunity to get to know who we are, how we practice law, and why we practice law. The next lawyer that we have is Jennifer Runfola, who's been with our office since July of 2018. Jen has been a tremendous addition to our firm.
Thank you.
Yes, she's a tremendous employee. She's a tremendous lawyer. I met Jen, I'd say 20 years ago. Jen was working in the Erie County District Attorney's Office as a high-level prosecutor over there. And then she went on her own, and now she's with us. So welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your practice. What do you do?
I primarily focus in criminal defense work. However, I do handle family court matters, anything from custody, visitation, as well as child support, adoptions even. I've even crossed over and done some matrimonials and some post-mat work. Again, my primary focus has been, since joining the firm, has been criminal defense work.
Well, you were a DA for how many years were you a DA?
A couple of years. I was a DA very early on in my career. And then after I left the DA's office, I actually hung up my own shingle and went into private practice, where I was a general practitioner. However, even then, I focused a lot on criminal defense. And then I got a great opportunity to become a confidential law clerk to the Honorable Thomas P. who was a county court judge for a period of 10 years, and I became his law clerk. And then after his retirement, I went back into private practice, and that is how we wound up connecting again, and I became one of the members of this great firm.
And you've really had a well-rounded career. So what was it like to be a DA?
I started off in Buffalo City Court as a DA, and back in that time, there was a lot of volume. So I became very fluent in being able to multitask, being able to pay attention to what was going on in the courtroom, discussing matters with my witnesses, writing things down. And then I utilized those tools when I went into private practice to be able to, what I thought was better, serve my clients with that. I do think that in the position that I'm in, and now I'm going into my 24th year of practicing, that because of the different background that I have, I bring a very unique perspective, I think, in representing our clients, because I can put my hat on as a former DA and try to think of the case as if I were a DA. I certainly can think of it in the context of being a criminal defense attorney, and there's not a lot of private practitioners that have that experience with being a former law clerk, where I can bring all of the things I learned while I was clerking for Judge Franczak to the table from the court's perspective. So again, I think I can analyze a case from all different angles and bring that experience to, and hopefully successfully defend our many clients here at the LoTempio Law Group.
So those you've had tremendous experiences that have provided you with three different perspectives, right? Every perspective you need from in a criminal case, and Judge Franczak was one of the smarter judges in that I have been in front of. What was it like working for him, and what did you learn?
It was incredible to work with Judge Franczak. He's a very, very brilliant man, and I learned so much from him. And one of the things that I think in our career that we experience is learning something every single day. Until the day we are no longer practicing, we're going to learn something new every day. So I tried to absorb as much as I could under Judge Franczak, because he does have a brilliant mind, and the way he analyzed cases from the perspective of the judge, I was able to pick up certain things that he would look for, whether it was reviewing grand jury minutes, whether it was analyzing a particular stop and search and seizure. So I definitely think I learned so much. I had actually been working with Judge Franczak in one way or another, actually, since I was in law school.
Right. When you talk about those issues and what you learned from Judge Franczak, I know we do a lot of trial work. We do a lot of motions and we do a lot of hearings. What's your kind of favorite thing to do when you're working on a criminal case? Which one of your favorite? Is it to try a case, or is it to run a hearing on a suppression issue, or?
I would have to say, well, I definitely like being in a courtroom. I think I thrive in the courtroom. And again, I think because of my unique perspective on how I analyze a case, I think that I wind up finding some issues that maybe might be overlooked by another attorney. And sometimes I am complimented from maybe a witness, a police officer, or even an assistant DA or an assistant U.S. attorney when in federal court, as far as my presentation and that I kind of hit every single point, and even some points that they didn't even think of. And I do. I really, really, truly think that has come to the forefront because of my different hats that I've worn throughout my career.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, being in the courtroom is what we do, right?
Yes.
So what's your educational background? Why don't you give us
I'm from Buffalo. I graduated high school from Buffalo Seminary. I went to college at Buff State. And after I graduated from Buff State, I attended law school. I actually attended law school at the University of Akron in Ohio. However, I was able to come back to my hometown of Buffalo and take my last year at University of Buffalo Law School. It was at the University of Buffalo that I was fortunate enough to have the, God rest his soul, Judge Vincent Doyle as my trial technique professor. And after we finished our trial technique final, he recommended that I try out for the trial team. And at first, I wasn't going to because I thought it was a lot of work. But I'm so glad he talked me into it, because there is where I met Judge Franzak for the first time. I met former career prosecutor Diane LaValle, and also now unfortunately deceased, one of the greatest criminal defense attorneys, Bob Murphy. They were all my coaches. So to me, I don't think I could have ever learned from three better people on how to be prepared to run a trial, how to do a trial, how to make objections properly. So I really think that background with the three of them really helped me be able to jump immediately into the courtroom and even doing trials. I think when I started at the DA's office in '97, that I think I actually ran my first trial within the very first week that I was at the office.
Yeah. So, and now you still give back to the trial prep and the trial technique, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
My one coach, Bob Murphy, who I referred to, he was always very big about impressing upon the students, once you're in a position to give back, give back. So ever since I graduated, I have been part of the trial team, if you will. There's usually been several attorneys that have volunteered their time to be coaches. First, we started off only competing as UB students and competing in only a few competitions. And over the years, as our reputation has gotten better, we have been coaching far more competitions from all over the country. And for 16 years, I have also taken part in being one of the coordinators for the Buffalo Niagara yearly mock trial competition that is typically held in Buffalo in November. Judge Franzak was the organizer and head of the competition committee, but I did work hand in hand with him with those, and I've also coached trial team, as well as I've also taught trial technique at the law school, which I will be doing again in this fall.
So besides working, what do you like to do?
Well, I have two beautiful daughters, one who's in high school and one who is still in elementary school. And even though we are still COVID times, they're still pretty busy with after-school sports. There's some going on. So usually in my off hours when I'm not working, I'm usually doing the mom thing and chauffeuring them around. But I do enjoy hanging out at the beach in the summertime. That's one of my favorite things. That's my happy place.
Great, great. Well, thank you again for joining us at LoTempio P.C. Law Group with Jen Runfola and getting to know her. If you need any help with any criminal issues or family court or matrimonial issues, please call us and call Jennifer Runfola.
Thanks for your time. Thank you, Frank.